1,500 private jets flown in here to hear Sir David Attenborough speak about, how we're wrecking the planet. And
I mean, that's such a great point, and it's a shame we don't hear it more often. If you're an environmentalist and you don't have this talking point, people should automatically assume that you're being bought. Probation at diabolica. Guilty until proven innocent. If a single climate activist, whether it's Greta Thunberg, I mean, she didn't want to say this, and she was asked, by the way, by Rebel News, or any other type of climate activist, if they do not care that at the COP20 meeting or the Davos Forum or any other place where they talk about the environment, if they do not care that the people who got there using private jets, and that is not part of their talking point, I will automatically assume that that person is bought. Like, they would have to prove to me and show to me that they're not getting money from any organization, and it's just like one day they woke up and they came to these beliefs by themselves, that they realized that the planet is dying, so now they went on an event and they started talking about it, right? But I will assume that someone paid you to talk about it. I will assume that you're saying someone else's talking points, unless you go on and you agree that there is no fucking reason imaginable why COP20 or any of these other places have people going there using private jets. There are so many other options. I mean, we've been through COVID. Kids have done school through Zoom. If a child can learn using Zoom calls, I'm pretty sure that you can talk about the environment without having to actually physically be there.
And I hear people talk in the language of participation and justice and equality and transparency. But then, almost no one raises the real issue of tax avoidance, right? And of the rich just not paying their fair share. It feels like I'm at a firefighters conference and no one's allowed to speak about water. This is not rocket science. We can talk for a very long time about all these stupid philanthropy schemes. We can invite Bono once more, but come on, we got to be talking about taxes. Yeah, exactly. That's it. Taxes, taxes, taxes. All the rest is bullshit.
Right. So, I don't think this person is getting invited back. I don't know who they are. But it's obvious, right? Like, what is the main purpose of a rich person? It's to pay less taxes. They don't want to pay taxes, right? So if you're a wealthy person, you have an army of accountants that will figure out legal loopholes in order to minimize the amount of taxes you're paying for the government. So you have like these people that are very wealthy, and they're going there and they're talking about how to raise taxes, but they're raising taxes for you and me. I don't have a team of accountants. You don't have a team of accountants. You do not have the resources required in order to do the tax. I can't even call them evasion because it's legal what they're doing, but to do the tax avoidance that they're pulling, right? So it's very interesting. It's almost like these wealthy billionaires are trying to influence legislation in order to raise the taxation for the little guys, so you have less mom and pop shops. So you have less entrepreneurs doing their little businesses. When you look at what's happening in the United States, especially with the rising of the crime level, it's usually the little guys that are being affected. So you keep crime high for a while, right? All of the big businesses, they manage to take the financial burden. It's like, okay, well, their store, like let's say, McDonald's gets robbed in a couple of places, right? And they have like some of their restaurants on fire. They can take the financial loss. They don't like it, but they can take it. However, other restaurants, like if I open a restaurant and it's just my business, like mom and pop stuff, and it catches fire, like I'm ruined. I will never be able to reopen, right? So you have like all these policies, raising taxes, in some cases, not at Davos, but like in the United States, you see like being very soft on crime, demoralizing the cops, making sure that you're treating people differently based on identity politics. In Europe, you have like the refugee crisis. Right now in Italy, there seems to be problems, right? So you're creating this social conflict. You're creating this social strife. You're raising the taxes. You're doing all of these things. And when you look at it, it's the little businesses that suffered the most. And now it makes sense why the very wealthy, why the richest people, support all of these policies. Why they're so happy in supporting these, because as we heard from the Australian CEO that I played in a video, I think it was 2 days ago, That's literally what they're after. Like they want to destroy the entrepreneurship. They want to destroy the little guy from creating the new parlor, right? So what they want is to be able to have not necessarily like a monopoly, but like to have like a nobility class, if you will, right? Like a already established merchant class, like it used to be in the aristocracy. So it's very difficult to get into that class. Like they want to create a social ladder that is very difficult to climb. Like most people shouldn't be able to climb. And then they don't want the contractual obligation between the employer and the employee to be something that's mutual beneficial and both parties have something to gain and respect. No, they want to go back to the aristocracy where you have the peasant and you have the noble. And basically the noble owns the peasant, pretty much. It's a little bit, I guess, less restrictive than slavery, but like that should be the mindset, right? Like that's what that CEO said. It said he doesn't like it when an employee thinks that the employer should be grateful to have him. Like the employee works for the employer, not the other way around. So he said perfectly clear that world governments are trying to destroy the economy, to raise unemployment, to make the employee grateful, happy, and excited that he has a job, right? And this is what I'm seeing here. This is what this guy is also talking about. It's like you got all these people talking about how to raise taxes, how to make life more difficult because the planet is dying. But none of them is actually doing what is required. Like, none of them is leading by example. They're still having private jets. You know, I'm pretty sure that at this meeting, they still have air conditioning. They're still doing, like, all sorts of loopholes and ways to avoid the taxation. So, what message do they send to everyone else? Well, they send the message that either they're not concerned about this issue, or if they are concerned about this issue, they don't want to give up their lifestyle, but you have to give yours, right? So make sure you don't drive a car, make sure you don't have pets, make sure you don't, you're, like having a kid is permissible, but you should be ashamed. You know, like that's the type of attitude that they're encouraging. So I don't think like this guy is going to be invited at another WEF meeting. But it's interesting, yeah, because the climate change movement is difficult to take seriously so long as the elites are buying beachside properties and cruising around in private jets. And they're hiring Hollywood actors which are guilty of doing the exact same thing. So it is what it is. But hey, you know, let me know what you guys think, and don't forget to read the pinned comment in the comment section. And hopefully I'll see you guys there. Take care.